Hi, hello everybody. Can you hear me well? Raise your hand if you can hear me. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a silent disc. I just needed to check if I'm being heard. So welcome to this presentation on AWS Summit. I hope that you do enjoy the day so far. This is one of the last rounds of the breakout session. So let's get started. So this session will be about GenAI at scale and how actually three things play a very important part in scaling GenAI across your business, and that's people, products, and infrastructure. So my name is Łukasz Magiera. I'm a solutions architect at AWS. I work with the public sector customers, mainly healthcare and education customers across Central Eastern Europe. And I have a guest here with me, co-founder and CTO of Toki AI, Wojciech Przechodzeń, who will take you um, who will take you through the journey of these three factors and how to actually embrace Gen AI across business and how to bridge people, product, and infrastructure together. But before I do that, before I hand it over to Wojciech, let me set the stage a little bit. So, the trends have emerged throughout the years if you think about Gen AI. So, in 2003, which is 2 years back, when the first model emerged, we've been talking with the customers, and the questions that we heard a lot, of course, is what is Gen AI? You know, how to use it, how to best use it. What are the use cases for the Gen AI? So we've been busy at AWS building POCs, right? We've been building proof of concept with customers to show them the art of possible, to see what value it can actually bring to the businesses. And then in 2024, some of those POCs made it to production, right? And we actually saw business value there. So 2024 was a year of production. And the questions we've been asked at that time were more about, what's more important? How do I prioritize my projects to get more out of Gen AI? And in 2025, the question we hear a lot is how can we actually transform entire businesses using Gen AI? And Gen AI is transforming businesses across many industries. You see that in automotive, you see that in media, entertainment, retail, and the one that is close to me is healthcare and life sciences. Some of not of the maybe obvious use cases for Gen AI, but Gen AI is being used in drug discovery processes, right? So right now, instead of being in a lab, you can simulate you can use simulations to actually identify drug candidates, right? So before you move to the lab, you can already have some promising candidates to work with. We optimize clinical workflows, right? So take as an example patient clinician interactions that we can extract notes from that just by ambient listening and running that through large language models. And we also see driving operational efficiency in, for example, drug manufacturing processes, where we can use Gen AI to augment defect detection, right? So we see entire industry actually being transformed by Gen AI. And this transformation, they do happen on AWS, of course. So we have a biotechnology startup called Alpha Bio that specializes in synthetic biology. And actually, they needed a solution to accelerate drug discovery. What they did, they've used a framework, generative AI framework created by NVIDIA called BioNeMo to speed up those drug discovery processes. They've run that on AWS, and they've been able to actually achieve excellent outcomes. So 12 times faster inference calls, right? 10 times more protein binding predictions evaluated, right? Which essentially comes down to getting faster treatments, basically, or getting to the treatment faster, right? Shortening those experimental cycles, running fewer of them, saving costs, and accelerate protein design. That was US-based startup, but if you look at GenAI here closer to us in France, we can talk about European Parliament, right? Who just wanted to make all those millions of documents that they have accessible to the researchers, to the general public. So they've used Amazon Bedrock and they've built Archibot, and AI assistant actually that offers users worldwide, across the globe, easy access to these documents. May it be positions, resolutions, policies, negotiations, right? You can go out there on the internet and chat with those documents. That also enabled researchers, European Parliament's staff to analyze more data and to create comprehensive reports. And European Parliament, through Archibot, made over 2 million documents accessible to general public, right? How do we make it possible, you may ask? Well, we kind of address that through AWS generative AI stack, which is like 3 layers, basically, to meet you where you are and to answer your needs. At the very bottom of it, we talk about the infrastructure, right? Managed infrastructure to Amazon SageMaker AI service that you can use to actually train your models. You can access NVIDIA chips, for example, or our own silicon called Trainium or Inferentia, right? On the top of that, you got Bedrock. Amazon Bedrock is an AWS service that actually allows you to access foundational models and tools to build generative AI applications faster. And on the top of that, these are GenAI enabled applications that boost productivity. So if you look at Amazon Q Business, that you can actually use to enable generative AI, access to the generative AI throughout your organization, to help you gain more insights into your business, all that based on your own data. Or Amazon Q Developer that was mentioned today during the keynote, that you can actually enable your development team to work faster, to deliver software faster across software development lifecycle. A little bit closer look, let's say, at SageMaker AI, right? So again, as I said, this is an AWS service that allows you to build, train, and deploy machine learning models at scale, and that includes foundational model. So you can get access to the latest and publicly available foundational models. You can use that to build foundational models from scratch or to customize foundational models. Also to deploy them, to run prediction, and all that with a governance in place. And Amazon Bedrock, which allows you to access a choice of leading foundational models through a single API and provide you with the tools to build, for example, retrieval augmented generation applications real quick, or to build agents that are able to execute multi-step tasks, right? And remember, you got access to all these models through, all these base foundational models through Amazon Bedrock, proprietary models from Anthropic, like the Claude family, or from Meta, Llama models, or our own Amazon Nova family of models, right? Plus, through Amazon Bedrock Marketplace, you can access and use over 100 popular emerging and specialized models. Plus, you can import your own models, you can fine-tune those base models, you can distill them, large models into smaller, faster ones, right? This is all what Amazon Bedrock allows you to do to actually transform your business. So the technology piece is there, right? But there are two more important factors. This is a product that you're building and the people in your organization. And I'd like Wojtek to take over and tell you all about this, how Toki AI embraced Gen AI. Thanks, Wojtek.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Just can you confirm that you can hear me well? Okay, perfect. So Couple words of the context for those that are not familiar with our company. Have you ever experienced a situation that you want to book an appointment for your child or you want to refill a prescription for your grandmother, so you need to call a clinic, but no one answers such call? Yeah, most of us. And luckily, or I don't know if fortunately or unfortunately, but in other countries, the situation is the same. So it's not only Polish thing, but it occurs like everywhere on other markets as well. So we are solving that issue. We are providing virtual assistants that are able to handle a call, answer a call immediately, then automate entire conversation end to end with natural language. So there is no like IVR trees or anything else. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we are doing that for last 7 years. What does it mean? That, of course, we are doing that before it was trendy. There was a hype for GenAI, but what's more important from this presentation perspective is that we had to prepare entire solution with traditional models. So our entire product was built with classification AI models, like traditional ones, named entity recognition models, and all of our scenarios, all of our branches of the conversations that we created were built on top of it with conditions, with all of those rules. And at some point, like after ChatGPT was released and all of those large language models were released, we realized that maybe those models that we've been training for years, because it's pretty complex process, can be replaced with one LLM models with and couple of prompts. And we tried that 2 years ago when ChatGPT was released, and it wasn't possible. But at some point, it started being, because those large language models are better and better every month or every quarter. So what does it mean for our organization? It means that we need to switch like entirely on every layer of our organization from traditional models, from product that was built with code, with branches, with scenarios, to agentic approach, because that's the core of our product. If we don't do that, we just can change the goal of the organization. And then we started thinking, okay, what does it mean for us? And we identified that it requires like preparing the transformation on 3 layers. On the organization layers, it's the fundament. So you can imagine that you have a team in those conversational world. There are people who are called conversation designers. So there are people who were taught how to create all of those branches based on intents, based on entities that were recognized. So entire knowledge is right now deprecated, and you need to teach them somehow, or they need to transform to prompt engineers, because technology like changing significantly. So you need to have really strong arguments to convince such people that even though they invested a lot of time for a couple of years, everything they should just forget and start doing other things, because it's just much better and it solves technical problems that they were. Then infrastructure. We are working in a healthcare space. It means that there are a lot of regulations. We need to be compliant with all healthcare and like regional like requirements in Europe different, in US when we are selling our product also different. So everything needs to be like taken into account and verified before we will do such transition. At the end, we have already a product, which means that we have millions of lines of code. We have already customers, so we can't just switch everything at one night, because there are processes, there are a lot of features that we need to like think how to replace with agentic first approach. And today I will just present the brief description how we did it. If you have, because we have limited time, so if you have any questions, just ping me on LinkedIn, or I will be for an hour around here. So yeah, feel free to do that. Let's start with the organization, which is, from my perspective, the most important. Like technical things are, of course, super important, but at the end, we are in a situation that we have a company, we have people who like we are responsible for, and we need to prepare the entire process. So first of all, what we wanted to achieve is we wanted to communicate to everyone that some people need to just stop doing their job at one day, and next day they should start doing just totally different things. Our entire AI team should just forget all tools that are using for training our dedicated models, all tools that are all data sets that they've been preparing for years, and they should start doing the other things, like verifying how fine-tuning, what's the impact of fine-tuning for large language models, or how we can even evaluate those large language models at scale, because those are just new challenges. So that's the first thing. The second, conversation designers. So they just need to get rid of the tool that they are using and start preparing prompts. So of course, at the end, it's just a way of describing process, but totally totally different. On one hand, we have all complex rules, branches, conditions, and on the other hand, we have prompts with all of those non-deterministic things that needs to be taken into account. So we organized like organization broad meeting, and we have prepared all arguments like why we are doing that. Without that change, we just can't provide that service long term, because other companies will be able to provide much better quality of the product just much quicker, because that technology changes everything. And we had a plan. So first of all, we wanted to prepare a way how our people could gain new competencies, because it's just brand new world. So we found and organized trainings for all of those people. For example, our conversation designers team had one training for like entire team for a couple of days with a person who was focused on this one thing, like transition from traditional models to large language models in conversational AI space, which helped a lot, because for most of those people, even though you are thinking, okay, everyone is using ChatGPT, it's not true. And even if people are using ChatGPT, they are using it for funny things. And now we need to prepare prompts for something that we are responsible for in healthcare. So we need to delegate having a conversation to LLM with patient. So there is just no space for having any risk. And it's totally different thing than just playing with ChatGPT as a person, as a like in private activities. So we built all of those competencies, and it was just a week after the announcement. Everything was prepared. Then we wanted to gather all of our people in a company in that one goal that we had. So we wanted to have this transition really, really quickly. Something that needs to be defined in all of our organizations is how we want to approach that. It can be, on one hand, like significant change. Next day, you are just stop doing everything. And we did it, but I can imagine that it can be iterative process if it makes sense. For us, time was really important, so we wanted to do that really, really quickly. It means that just day after training was finished, we gather everyone in Warsaw, because we are remote first company, so everyone is just in different cities. We gathered everyone to start working all together in one office, in one room, all problems that we have in our product based on entire knowledge that they received during a training. And it helped a lot, because it not only like helped those people in terms of sharing knowledge, sharing thoughts that they had after the training, but what's more important, it helped them be confident that, okay, I'm as a person of the team, as a team member, I'm not alone in this super important project, but everyone in a company wants to take part in that change. Next thing is after the hackathon, because it took, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, we wanted to have stable place when all of those people can share knowledge and experience with just playing, verifying technologies around LLMs. And it's also even more important because every week when you are when you implement first LLM process, then you realize that just every week there are new models, there are new approaches, there are new tools that needs to be verified, needs to be integrated with your solution. So having a quick feedback loop in terms of someone just verified one tool and wants to share their thoughts, how it can be used in our organization is super important. So we prepare just dedicated Slack channel, and all of those people are exchanging information just every day. Then infrastructure. When you start verifying what are the tools, what are the aspects that needs to be taken into account when you are implementing agentic approach into the product, there's just a lot of not only tools but a lot of different categories of tools that needs to be taken into account. There are only like a couple of them. This screenshot was taken, I don't know, 2 months ago, and right now it's probably should be even bigger. So during this presentation, I want to make it a little bit simpler and focus only on 3 things that that are the most important from my perspective, from our experience, at the very beginning of the of the roles that we have in that transformation. So first of all, agent frameworks. We need to have a place when we can define all rules, all prompts, all integrations with our product. So a couple of examples, Divey and Crew AI, probably every month there is a new one, both open source and commercial ones. So it needs to be like verified and choose wisely. Second thing, agent hosting and serving. So we have a couple of LLM providers, but what we discovered after playing with it is that different LLM providers are started focusing on the different things. For example, Anthropic, it's much better in code development than, for example, I don't know, OpenAI, but OpenAI is much better in conversational space just because the latency of those models is much better, which means that having a hosting and serving mechanism that can provide you multiple alternatives, as Łukasz mentioned, like AWS Bedrock, that you have multiple models, everything is just hosted in one place, simplify the process significantly because you don't need to switch between Google, OpenAI, Azure, Meta. Every quarter, when they are releasing new versions of the model, you have only one central place like AWS Bedrock or AWS Bedrock, let's say, and Dot. And the last but not least, our agents, like we should treat entire prompt engineering as a code development, which means that we should have a tool that we can be able to do same things as we are doing in a code development world. What does it mean? We need to have a place where we are managing our prompts. Like I treat prompts as similarly to code. So we don't store our prompts in GitLab or GitHub. So we need to have a dedicated space. And LangFuse and Orize are example of tools that just allow you to do that. And you have entire prompt version management there, and it's super helpful when you start improving your prompts. Then you want to be able to verify how those prompts are performing on production to make sure that at scale, when hundreds or thousands or millions of patients or other people are talking to your models or talking to your product, that the product is not cheating, the product is not selling product you have for €1, that there is no hallucinations. So you need to have a place like in our application logs for all traces, all generations that were prepared by LLMs to be able to verify how it went. And for those use cases, LangFuse arrays are pretty important. Um, and to simplify like the entire integration with the product of such agentic solution, in general, there are only 3 steps that we have if we want to integrate our agent to any product that we have. First, we are fetching the prompt or agent from prompt management tool that we have. Then we are sending it, so that's why we need to prompt management tool. Then we send the prompt that was prepared dynamically to LLM provider. It can be a AWS Bedrock or OpenAI directly. And then we have a place, so observability platform, that we are gathering all traces and we can verify how it works. But how we can improve our agents with time. So then what we identify is that process is slightly different to our like traditional applications, because when we are preparing an application with code, it's fully deterministic. We can just prepare all examples, all tests that verify if in case of any corner case or in case of any business related situation, how this application will work. But with our agents, it's much more flexible, it's much more like sensitive, because it fully depends on what messages, what sentences will be sent to our LLM. So we need to have a process to verify and then improve the performance of our agent. So we have a couple of steps. We agreed that we should gather all traces, all generations in one observability tool like LangFuse. So we are evaluating all of those outputs. It can be done by human, but right now the like entire movement is to also do that with LLMs. So one LLM is checking if another LLM works correctly, and then we are preparing other LLMs to improve based on this feedback the first LLM to be able to do that like entire cycle automatically with agents. But going back to the slide, we need to create a failure data set. Then we have a human labeling, or as I mentioned, we have a LLM as a judge approach, and then LLM is just annotating our data. Then we can fine tune our agent. There are a lot of tactics that we can use. It can be either changing a prompt or adapting the prompt, but also it can be fine-tuning a model, which is also like more expensive, but it's something like the tactic with huge potential. We are doing that as well. And then when we verify with entire data set that our agent for this number of examples that we gathered is performing better, then we can deploy this agent on production. And the last aspect is a product. So to sum up everything that I mentioned, couple of thoughts that I have after like working with LLMs for a while and replacing all models that we had with LLM first approach. First, focus on prompts. Having a transition from thinking in categories like code, deterministic rules, to agentic first approach, it's a tough one. Even for me, like I'm working with LLMs a lot, but still the first thought is always, let's prepare a code for that, let's prepare rules for that. In a code, it will be like easier, but at the end, always we end up with the situation that we are preparing an agent because it's just better and more flexible solution. So what I can emphasize is to just focus on prompts and verify if particular problem can be solved with an agent. Then the aspect that I haven't mentioned today, it's like entire story to tell you about is integrations. Sometimes we don't want to automate things with agents because there is like integration. Integration is probably the most important thing in every system. But right now, agents are pretty good in like sending requests or making a decision when some information should be fetched or some information should be sent to other system. So it's also worth verifying if you can replace like probably entire systems that are responsible for managing integrations. And then what we've learned in our organization is that especially at the very beginning when you start the transition within your organization to switch to agentic approach, it may be better and it may be easier and it may be less risky to start with administrative tasks with internal processes. So at the beginning, maybe you don't need to switch entire product related processes to agentic approach. You can start with automating, for example, your support inbox or your, I don't know, invoice process within the company. It will be great playground for the team. It will be great playground to better understand like what are the dependencies between different solutions that you've just installed in your architecture, in your infrastructure. So that's something that helped us a lot, and also we end up with not only improving the product, but also with automating a lot of processes that we had in our company. So right now our strategy is whenever someone in a team wants to hire someone, we always ask the question if this job can be done with agent before we start hiring process, because maybe it may be achievable with that without just having higher cost on hiring people. And the last thing, uh, be brave with that. It's just a brand new area, but probably during every session during this day, AI and GenAI was mentioned. It's huge movement and it's super important. From our experience, it helped us a lot to solve issues that we had for 6 years with traditional models, to like solve all of those issues, and at the end bring the value that we wanted to our customers for years, and we weren't able to with those models because those challenges weren't resolvable. Right now, product is on much higher level, and the pace of changes that we have in our product is much better. We are delivering new things into product much quicker because all of those changes that we did, both on an organizational level, but also on infrastructure and product level. Thank you. We will be super thankful if you receive some feedback for us. And as I mentioned, no matter if you're here or you're just watching live session or you will be watching this session after the conference, just ping us on LinkedIn or on an email, and we'll be glad to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, all.